Hey, what's up everyone? Back for this Wednesday slate. We're going to look at the early slate in this video. Yesterday it was looking like a good day on Draftkings. Right now we're at a 117. It's kind of over for us. Just waiting on the night games to finish. But Dallas Keuchel was a great pick. Put up 30.5. I was very low owned too, but was on him from the beginning yesterday, so hopefully played him. Then the one with the Brave stack. Soto was a little disappointing, only got 5. Even though the Nats as a team went off, he didn't do much, but looking like we're going to double up at least on DraftKings. FanDuel, looking like we're going to miss out on that. But let's try to get both of the money today. You can drop a like and subscribe down below. And you can check out the website, dusprocess.net. And we'll be playing both slates today. So starting off at pitcher, on this slate, I'm going to pay up for Justin Verlander. It's not a very large early slate. It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, solid 7-game slate. Verlander by far is the best pitching option. After him, you get Mike Minor and John Lester and John Gray. And then you have Mike Leake is like the 5th most expensive pitcher. So you definitely want to lock in Justin Verlander facing a very righty-heavy Oakland team. He has a ton of strikeout upside. He goes very deep into games. He's had double-digit strikeouts a few times already this season. It just seems like a really safe option. Pitching at home, has a lot of 30-point upside. Had a 40-point game already this year. So just a really safe pitcher. I'm going to lock him in as my SP1. And as my SP2, I'm going to go down here and play Tyler Beede at 7,000. I like the price tag on Beede. He's going up, but it's deserving just because he's pitching really well. I like the park he's pitching in. He's pitching at home. It's a great pitcher's park. The Cubs get a big ballpark downgrade, and Beede lately has looked like a completely different pitcher, going 8 innings, 6 2/3, and 7 innings in his last 3 starts. He's really using his slider more, which is why he is being more effective, and he's not giving up as many runs or as many home runs as he was early on in the year. He's kind of figured it out. He was a really good prospect for them in AAA. He had insane strikeout stuff, so it's finally starting to translate as he's starting to be a solid option. At only 7,000, does have mid 20-point upside. I think he can have a good game here. He has had some success against some tough teams like the Dodgers. The Padres have a lot of power, but he still put up 24 against them, and then 22 against the Brewers. Now facing a Cubs team at home, I think he has a good chance to get you 20 plus, given how well he's been pitching, and he's very cheap at just 7,000. It seems like a good SP2 play to pair with Verlander. Those are 2 pitchers I like. At first base, I like Daniel Murphy. Really cheap price tag for Daniel Murphy at only $3,700. Eric Fetty has been terrible against lefties this season. And I'll show you the numbers for him. Against the Rockies, I don't love targeting them outside of Coors. But I will be targeting some lefties. And like Arenado's cheap, but lefties against Fetty have worked out really well this season. He's given up a 316 average and a 487 slugging to lefties. At home, his ERA is much worse than on the road. Lefties, he has a 16.7% K rate. XFIP is bad to both sides, so you can also play righties against him. I think the Rockies are an interesting stack just because I don't think Fetty's that good. But the Rockies also haven't been as good as a team. But Daniel Murphy, he's been hot as of late. And at 3,700, I'm definitely going to be interested in him. Especially if you pay up at pitcher, you're going to need some value. And he supplies value at a first base spot. And he's been very hot in the month of July. His batting average has climbed. Against righties, he's batting .281, has 8 home runs there. And he's really trying to hit the ball really well. In June, he batted .344, and in July, he's batting .302. He's really started to show his power. 6 home runs in the past 2 months after just hitting 3 in the first 2 months. So his power is starting to come around. The batting average is starting to come around. And the matchup is as good as it gets. It's pretty good against Fetty, given his bad numbers against left-handed hitters. At second base, I like Wilmer Flores. Nice cheap price tag for Flores at just $3,500. He's definitely going to get the start. He always starts against lefties now that he's healthy. And Flores, for his career, has been a very solid and very powerful hitter. well, decently powerful hitter against left-handed pitching. John Means has been decent this year, but he does struggle a little bit with power. And you saw in his last start where he kind of got blown up a little bit. I think he's starting to regress and should regress as the season ends, as teams kind of figure him out. This season, Flores, in his limited sample, just 50 at-bats, he has a 300 average. Both of his home runs have come against left-handed pitching. He has a solid 220 ISO, just a 9.4% K rate. Doesn't strike out much. 40% fly ball rate and a 47% hard hit rate. Really, really good numbers there for Flores this season, and his career has kind of been that way. He's been much better against lefties. And John Means has been, he's been good. He was the Orioles All-Star this season representative. But against righties, he still gives up some power. 414 slugging, 243 average, 10 home runs against righties. He just has a 16% K rate, which is not good, and a 5.75 xFIP signals massive regression for John Means. And we saw it in his last start, and I think we'll see some more against a very good Diamondbacks offense, especially as of late. In the outfield, give me Joey Gallo. Very, very cheap price tag for Joey Gallo at $4,700. He's usually he's usually at least $5,000. In a matchup against Mike Leake, gives up a lot of power. I think Leake's he had a great last start against the Angels at home. Leake's actually been a lot better at home than on the road, which is a little concerning. But I still think the power from the Rangers bats make for great plays. Joey Gallo, just so much power for him. Leake struggles to strike people out, and that's what you worry about with Joey Gallo. You don't want to play him against a high strikeout pitcher. Right? Don't try to play him against a high strikeout pitcher just because he strikes out a lot. But Leake doesn't strike many guys out at all. Gives up a lot of home runs. And Joey Gallo, we know he has that double dong upside. So seems like a really strong play today at a very cheap price tag. He's had some more success against left-handed pitching this season, which is kind of surprising. But the power is still there against righties. 315 ISO. As you see, 38% K rate, which is extremely, extremely high. But he has a 55% hard hit rate against righties. And Leake struggles to strike batters out. Gallo should be able to make some solid contact, and it can really go a long way if he makes some contact here, which he has a really good chance to, as Leake has given up a 451 slugging to lefties, and just a 19% K rate for him, and a 4.07 xFIP, which is a little better than I thought, but still giving up massive amounts of power, 38% hard hit rate. The fly ball rate's a lot worse to righties. The talent for Joey Gallo, he can hit it off anyone. Like the price tag for him a lot at this price. And last but not least, I like Bryce Harper. Like the Phillies quite a bit. I think you can run it back with a Tiger stack, just because we know Velasquez gives up a ton of power, and I'll talk about some other Tigers that I like. But I like Harper a lot. His price tag is very cheap. He's starting to come around. Batting average is almost at 260, which is a pretty good number for Harper after he was hovering in the 240s for most of the season. So he's really starting to come around. Zimmerman struggles against everybody, righties and lefties. Harper has a lot of power. Zimmerman doesn't strike many guys out, gives up a lot of fly balls. Harper seems like a good chance to have a really good game. Against righties, he's batting .254 with 11 home runs. And in the month of July, he's batting .300. So he's really starting to hit the ball well. Last season as well, he was great in the second half. So it seems like he's a second half player. Over a 200 ISO against righties, and Zimmerman should get hit pretty hard by this Phillies team. The Phillies also do get the DH here heading into an American League Park for this series. So that always makes a stack a little bit more appealing. And this year against lefties, he's given up a 513 slugging and a 336 average. Love the Philly stack, especially Harper, who's very cheap at $4,500. So those are 6 guys that I like. Leaves you with a decent amount to fill out the rest. Probably going to be punting at catcher. That will free up some salary. I usually always punt at catcher if I'm paying up at pitcher. And today, usually on an early slate, you always have some cheap catchers, just because the regular catchers take the day off. So some other teams I want to talk about, like the lefties from the Rockies. I do think you can look at the righties too. Like Arenado is really cheap at 4,200, I think. Yeah, 4,300 is really cheap for Arenado. Seems like a really good play. I like David Dahl, Blackman, Murphy are my favorite plays. On the Nationals, not going to be super high on them against a good pitcher in John Gray. But I think you can look at like Soto, still cheap at 4,500. Dozier, Adams. I like the Phillies, full Philly stack. I think the Tigers, you can run it back with some Tigers just because Velasquez gives up a ton of power and the Phillies bullpen isn't great. So a guy like Nico Goodrum at 42. Dixon has a lot of power. Castro just hits the ball well at 3,600, batting like second. Candelario has power. And Jones has power. Stewart has power. And Castellanos. So like the Tigers a little bit. Probably going to go with like a couple of them on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you can go with like a full stack. Maybe not in one lineup. I'll play some Tigers, but if you're making a bunch of lineups, I think throwing in some Tigers makes some sense. Probably won't do it in my one lineup for cash, but I think they make for decent plays. The Brewers will probably be popular. I like the Brewers. I like a little bit at least. I like Thames. Hira's fine, but that 5,300 price tag is very difficult to get to, especially if you're going to be paying up for Verlander like I am. So I'm going to pass on that. Moustakas is fine. And Yelich, if you can pay up for him. And on the Reds, I like some lefties. They went off yesterday. That'll probably make them more popular today. So if you don't want to play them, I don't blame you. But Jesse Winker is cheap at 4,100. I like him. I like Jeanette at 35. Votto, just because Chacin's advanced numbers are really bad against lefties. And then here I'll probably go with a few Astros. I like them a little bit. And I like some righties on the Diamondbacks, like Walker, Ketel Marte, Adam Jones, Flores, who I mentioned. And here I like the Rangers. Think they make for one of the better stacks on the slate. Like Odor, 3,700. I like him. I like Andrews at just 4K. Gallo and Mazzara, my four favorites. And not going to have a ton of interest. Not going to have any interest in the Mariners. And not going to have that much interest in the last game for offenses. Except for a couple of, couple Giants like Tyler Austin's very cheap. And Kevin Pillar sticks out a little bit. But those are some picks I like besides these 6 guys. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can drop a like if you enjoyed. And good luck to